All right, welcome to the double legs for taking down larger opponents. Last video we did the single legs. I said they're the highest percentage NCAA and Olympic wrestling. This is the second takedown that most people learn, is the double leg. Usually the way the progression goes is single leg, double leg. And those two work very well in tandem. Like when I talked a little bit at the end of the last video, chain wrestling. Another big thing is going from a double leg to a single leg, or a single leg to a double leg during an exchange. That's why they get taught in the series, and that's why I'm doing the same order. Now, double legging guys who are a lot bigger than you is very difficult. I can't pick Blake up very well. I might be able to if I have warmed up and did not lift yesterday or today. And I'm not sore at all, but it's not advisable. Basically when someone gets to be about, my size, probably 40, 50 pounds heavier than me, I'm not trying to pick them up anymore. Blake, you're like 80 pounds heavier than me.
Something like that.
Yeah, so it's significantly over that threshold, which is why Blake is helping with the series. So instead, and I'm not going to be able to blast double him. This is more of just our body types here, but if you notice, if I try and headbutt Blake in the stomach, it's not going to go well for me. It's essentially how a blast double works. It won't work. Maybe it would on a taller, more lanky person, but if they're like said in a previous video, he's a little more top heavy. A blast double won't work on top heavy opponents who are bigger. So I have a couple of different ways that I address this with my double leg. The first one is not exactly a double leg, but it's the same shot, so I'm going to classify it as one. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to shoot and I'm going to immediately spin to get to his back. So I'm almost shooting through him. If it works properly, Blake will have sprawled in response to my double leg, but I'm behind him by the time he sprawls. So he's on the space and I'm on his back. This one's all about timing, and even if he doesn't go down, it's a lot easier to take down a bigger guy from their back than it is from the front. So usually my setup for this is usually something addressing the head. For hilarity purposes, I'm going to do this. And as you can see, I get to the back, I have my hands locked. I keep my head buried in here, and this is mostly so he can't hip toss me. If I let my head separate, he can actually get a pretty good grip, and now he can throw me. But if I'm buried in, on crouch, he can't do. He tried, it didn't work. From there, it's pretty easy to finish. I recommend just basically put your knees behind there, and sit down. You gotta roll with it when you land though. Yeah. That is by far the best double leg against larger opponents. I am now going to show another one though, which is a wrapping double. You can do it to the inside or outside, meaning your wrapping leg can go to either the inside or outside. I always go to the outside because it's a little bit harder to maneuver my knee inside. Show that again. Once again, for a double leg, I'm going to do something. Let's say there's a tension up here. I want to raise his hands. So whether that's, throwing my hand open in front of him, head snap, or his face again, all of these work. So I'm coming in to a standard double leg here, and my outside leg is going to wrap. And then I can walk and try and come up and through. I'm not going to run, we have limited space here. It'll take me about 10 yards to bring Blake down doing this.
Yeah. We discovered in the dry run.
I was in the cage. It works. I break his balance and everything. I will get him to the ground. But be aware of how much room you have. Yeah. The other one you can do, like I said, is you can go to the inside. I'll see if I can do it. To here. This is a little bit harder for me to come up from, which is why I don't use it as much. But I can, as leg pops off the ground as I'm coming up. The idea with all of these is not always to get a quick takedown. Well, it is, but I mean, it's not like, oh, I hit this and he's on the ground. Sometimes it's break balance so that I can get something else. And with the double legs, that is much, much more evident because I'm not really moving him unless I cheat. But like, you know, I have to do something else rather than just like, we did a sumo match. And Blake doesn't want to move, Blake's not moving. So I have to do something to disrupt that balance, which is where the leg wraps come in.
Yeah, so let's run this one again. There's a couple of things I want to point out. So let's start with another example of setup. One you can do, obviously he did this for a lot of comedic effect, but something you can do in a more legitimate like grappling situation is the old, you know, pulling down. The Connor's pulling me down and I'm resisting him, trying to pull me down and I'm resisting, and then he releases. I'm shooting myself up. He doesn't even have to do any shenanigans about that. And I'm going real hard. I'm going back. So that'll assist him there in getting the setup. The second thing I want to talk about is context. So this one we just did is great for sporting context, but if you do that again, there's something I just want to point out in something more along the lines of self-defense content. Oh, what's this?
Yeah.
That's my elbow in the back of the skull. You don't want it.
No, not really.
Especially if, you know, also maybe with weapons in play in the self-defense context. I mean, he's down there. Go ahead and do that again. And I'm just like, I don't even care, because now there's a knife in the back of your spinal column. So, again, I'm a HEMA guy, so I'm a little more sort of weapon orientated. So understand the context of which you use these techniques. This is a great one for a sporting thing where if you get an elbow in the back of the skull, your opponent's getting thrown out. But if you're doing this in a context where there's no rules, that could put you in a pretty risky situation.
I mean, also in MMA, just in general, you're allowed to elbow to the side of the head. You've seen countless knockouts from that position.
Sure.
So, you know, this is definitely again, like I'm going to say this in every single video in this series, is do not hang out in that fit-in position. It is never good to linger there. There will be a couple of minor exceptions when you get to like clinch throws and stuff, and the only reason I'll say that you can kind of hang out there a little longer is because you can't actually be hit, you know, effectively in those situations. But for the most part, like we're talking about, like this is going against larger opponents. Your opponent's going to be bigger than you. He's probably going to be stronger, or if he's not stronger, he's going to have more leverage
And mass.
Exactly, and mass boosts mass. Yeah. At the end of the day, so again, don't hang out there like. You ever watch any WWE? Like, I've actually done this for one of my sparring partners. They shot a double on me. I'm out there too long and was able to roll them up into a power. Obviously, I didn't finish it because I'm not a dickhead. But it's a thing that can happen. Like, you know, you think it's all just silliness on TV or whatever, but they're the UFC. Someone got like tombstone from there. So again, like I said, don't hang out there. You want to move through the fit into the finish very quickly with all of these, especially when your opponent's looking.
So that's it from my perspective. Context, know when the move's appropriate. Same thing when he was behind me and he let his chin out, I can get him in the headlock. Obviously that's not great. So as with any grappling technique, keep your shit tight. Yeah. Keep tight to yourself, keep tight to your body.
I didn't talk about it as much, but like anytime where there's a possibility of him trying to grab my head, I'm always shrugged like this, so I just make my neck disappear. It's always great in self-defense as well. It keeps your chin down, it's a lot harder to knock you out, and you can't be choked. That's about it. That's it. All right, thank you.